Hello everyone, welcome to the Whole Cat and Caboodle. I'm here live with Vicki Draper, the author of the aforementioned book called Heart to Heart. Just a little personal note, Vicki is a really critical part of our team. At the Whole Cat and Caboodle, we work so often with rehabilitating cats, especially through our adoption program, and she is part of our rehabilitation team. So we definitely use veterinarians to look over the mechanics of an animal, check the blood chemistry, urine, and like that. The Whole Cat and Caboodle always steps in and puts the cat on a proper species-appropriate diet and does whatever supplementation is required to get the cat into balance again. And then Vicki brings the magic. She's the one that goes in and really taps into understanding the cat, what's happening, what it's holding in its body, those kinds of things that we can't see at the surface. And without adding that metaphysical layer in, we often miss a lot of things, and it often takes us longer to understand what's going on with the cat. In fact, we just had an adoption a few minutes ago of a cat that came in from a household that was just a little bit too frenetic for the cat. The cat was also holding some pain, and so Vicki did work on that cat, and the cat is significantly calmer, much happier, and just went to a lovely single-person home where I know he'll plant his roots there and thrive. So anyway, good morning, Vicki.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am doing great, thank you. Happy to be here.
Good, I'm glad. So I had some notes in your book that I wanted to ask about, but I'd like to start out with, your credentials are pretty impressive, and I was wondering if you could just start out talking about your credentials, your CV.
Sure. I first got my license. I'm triple certified, so I'm a purse for people, massage practitioner, certified acupressurist, and Reiki master, and then I have now massage license for small animals and large animals, so that's cats, dogs, and horses, and certified acupressurist for large animals and small animals, and Reiki master for the animals as well. And I do craniosacral therapy as well, so combining Eastern, Western, and energetics. And I'm a natural born animal communicator, and so I've honed skills by taking classes, and then I also teach classes to empower the pet guardians with that skill as well.
Fantastic. The thing that struck me about this book, when Vicki first told me about it, I thought it was just going to be about her magic. But what I love about the book is that it's super comprehensive. And it's what she says at the beginning of the book is that you should, of course, read the book and then keep it on hand because you're going to refer back to it many, many times. The other thing I really love is that we tend to really focus in on our animals when they are at those critical points in their life. They get sick or something's happening or we're moving. What I love about Vicki's book is it's about noticing and interacting and all the times in between, in addition to being able to address the cat's or dog's need at other times as well. And I just think that's so important. Pardon me. The beginning of the book, she starts in a place that I love. She starts talking about if you want to do work on your animal, then here's what you have to do for yourself. Here's how you get centered. And that was, oddly, that was just an epiphany for me because I tend to think that certain people have the gift and certain people don't. But what you're saying in this training and in this chapter is that anyone can have the gift if they pull themselves into that space. If they do the work, then they can do the work.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you'd talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely, because we all have the ability to communicate with animals, to do healing. It's like a muscle, and so we have to have the desire for one, and then cultivate building and strengthening that. And you're right. Well, and that's why I teach. It does start with you. You have to be open. You have to be in a calm space, because communicating with animals or doing healing work is not your left brain. So it's not like us sitting here and having a conversation. It's not a logical thing to figure out. It comes from a different piece of our brain, the intuitive side. And to hear that intuitive side, you've got to get the monkey mind, the loud noises in the background, and listen from a different place.
Yeah, not easy to do.
No.
It's not easy to do, but you break it down into the step-by-step process, which even if you didn't have an animal or you were trying to do something specific, just going through that process is really amazing to kind of tame that monkey mind and bring yourself to a place of peace. I just absolutely love that part of the book.
Yes, well, thank you, because yes, that part alone will change your life. And then your animals feed off of your energy and your environment, so the calmer you are, the calmer they will be by nature.
So can I ask a question about that? Because we see that a lot here. I'm reminded of a cat that was brought out to my sanctuary many years ago. She's since been adopted, which I think is fantastic. But the person that brought her out said that the cat was crazy. That was the label that she put on the cat. But when she came to the sanctuary, her energy was very frenetic, and she had a little boy who was, fully expressing his little boyness. So he was kind of frenetic too. But that's what kids are supposed to be, right? And especially at our sanctuary when he's out in the fresh air and whatnot. So you do see a connection between the human energy and how it affects animals, correct?
Oh yes, because before COVID, when I could teach live classes, the people would bring their dogs to class, and everybody would be all frenetic from the traffic and travel and everything. And then I would have us go through some of these exercises, doing some 3 deep breaths, some calming, and all of the animals, well, the dogs in this case, all of the dogs would settle just by us taking some breaths and going inward.
So do you think that dogs and cats and horses are all similar in the way that they process energy coming off of humans?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. That's a universal language, the energy, yeah.
Can you say a little bit more about that? That's interesting to me.
Well, if we're stressed, we're emanating a vibration. Well, the animals are going to sense that stress vibration. And so that's why I'm saying they may not call it stress or anxiety, but they're going to be like, I'm going to be on guard. I got the
Right.
stress response.
Right. Do you think humans pick up on other humans' anxious energy too?
Oh yeah.
Not just the language.
Not just the language, it's the energy, and that's why in my protocol that helps you not pick up others as much.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, because it changes, that just helps change you and your reaction to the environment and letting it be separate to navigate easier.
Love it.
So it's a consciousness. It's a conscious
Yeah.
decision, because if we're not thinking about it, we're just reacting and going around. But
Right,
if we're
right.
conscious about it, then we can take steps to manage it.
Right, exactly. Along that line, the mission of my business is to help people see and understand the world from the cat's perspective, or the dog's perspective, or the horse or rabbit, whatever the critter is. Because humans are processing through ego and animals process through instinct, and it's a completely different language.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the greatest disservices that we do is to impose our opinions or our perceptions on an animal as we pull it through a human filter. And one of the things that I've seen you do that I just love is that you have a really cool way of communicating with animals, so that you're not just going from like what their the ancestral code would be, but you're actually asking the animal in its language to let you know what's going on. And I just love that. I mean, that's about the purest, most direct form of understanding the world from the animal's perspective that there is. Can you give me an idea? Does that sound like a voice? Is it an intuition? Is it a vibration? What is it that you're perceiving as you're defining what it is that they're trying to communicate?
Okay, well, that's a very good question, because how I perceive it may not be how somebody else perceives it.
Right.
And so when I'm teaching the class, I'm letting people find their distinct way, because we have 6 clairs, energetic senses, 5 of them that match our physical senses, like sight, hearing, touch, smell, taste. And so some people may have something stronger than another. There are predominantly more people are stronger in visual, so you'll hear commonly about seeing pictures or sending pictures to communicate. So, so yes,
Sending pictures by mental images,
yes,
correct?
yes, because then that's translating to them. They're getting a picture. So, that's a common thing you're going to hear. Well, it goes deeper than that. So for me, I'm very kinesthetic. I feel. They tell me in a way I feel, I'm connected, I just know it. And then sometimes they'll give me pictures, sometimes I'll hear words that's not my words, and know it's from them, and go from there. Well, I've also trained myself, because the thing I love about talking to animals is it's always true. I mean, it's always clear, because they don't have the ego and the doubts and say things in the negative form. So it's pure and true, and it's so easy. It's crystal clear to communicate in my mind when I get in that space, because, yeah, there's no second guessing.
Right. But you have to be in that space to do that.
Absolutely.
So that you're not substituting in your emotions for their message.
Right. That's where, yes, I've learned to put my thoughts aside and be open, an open conduit to hear that, have that conversation.
And if I may, here's where I'd like to do a little bit of a commercial for Vicki, because if you've ever hired Vicki to work with your animals, that's exactly what you're paying for. Exactly. Is that she brings that objectivity and that purity. She doesn't know your pet. And so what you get are these pure answers. And man, there's nothing better than that. So anyway, I just wanted to say, if you ever have an opportunity to hire Vicki, yeah, she's really amazing. Thank you. That was a great answer.
Thank you, Nancy.
I also, this is a little bit less about the metaphysical, but you have these really interesting notes on cat litter. And again, I thought that your book was really going to be more about communication and healing, and the comprehensive nature of the book really just delighted me. And so I was wondering why you bothered to take the time to talk about the importance of cat litter, the different kinds of cat litters.
Yes. When I connect animals and helping animals live their best life is my passion. And it starts with how Nancy is strong in, what you feed them, what kind of litter they use, and all of these factors that go into creating a healthy environment. And so I just wanted to let people know that is an issue, that there are litters that affect your cat's health. And I had a kitten client that's in there, Wes, that was so clear, and he was so young, his system just couldn't handle the toxins or the chemicals in the litter. And people just aren't aware. They just open the litter and just buy it.
Right. There's no regulations around listing the ingredients that are in cat litter. I love that you called out silica litter, because everyone thinks silica, sand, it's so clean and whatnot. But silica is actually little shards of glass, little shards of plastic that, and remember, when a cat's interacting with a litter box, when they're digging, they're inhaling, and when they're grooming, they're consuming. And so both of those things are really important to know when you're choosing a litter. It's something that your cat's really involved with. So I just love that you brought that up. And again, that really super speaks to the comprehensive nature of the book.
Yeah, well, because then the clay litters that are very dusty, because I do deal with cats that have asthma, and so then
yes,
it's a key point for me to listen to, is to cover not just the body, but the other factors that could be contributing.
Yes, exactly. Going back to so at the beginning we talked about the fact that in order to do energy work on your cat or communicate with your cat, that you need to go through your own process to prepare yourself. Can you give us a little bit of insight, so that once you're prepared, then where do you start? How do you engage with an animal? What's the process like once you've prepared yourself?
Okay, well, once I'm preparing myself, I am asking the animal's permission to make sure they're open to connecting and talking, and then
do they ever say no?
I've had some that weren't sure at first, but when I explained that they're in full control, that if anything they don't like, tell me, I stop. And when they learn that it's not like a normal visit where they are just totally powerless, when they learn they're in control, they're always open.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's so rewarding because they trust, and then they when I'm assessing, and then when I start giving them a little energy and letting their body take it, they're I'm just saying, this is all it is. This is what we're doing. It's to help you. And then they're like, okay. And then they just open to really take it in.
And how can you tell when you're working on a cat or a dog if it's having a positive response to the work that you're doing?
Oh, they give all kinds of cues. So they'll stretch, they'll lick, they'll yawn, they'll sigh. I said stretch, I think, or roll over or shift, and it's just so rewarding. And so that's where, when I do sessions distantly, like I do Zoom sessions for people that aren't local, and especially with the pandemic right now, also, most of my sessions are through Zoom. And the people, we're on there live, and they're watching their cat or their dog, and as I'm saying, here's where I'm working, here's what I'm getting, here's what I'm releasing, they'll see the live version of their pet responding. So they're engaged in the process and can see it happening as well. That, it's not just me saying it, but that they're like, yeah, I mean.
Yeah. I've witnessed it myself, so
yes.
I definitely know what you're talking about. That's got to be really rewarding.
It is. But the most rewarding for me is that the cat or dog trusts me. They let me in, and even when it's a very painful spot, and then to see them just at the end of the session be so full of delight and thanks, just because they feel better.
Sometimes, if you're working with a chiropractor or something, you might need, or a physical therapist, you might need multiple sessions. Mm-hmm. There's muscle memory involved and whatnot. Do you find that the same is true after one of your sessions? How frequently do you have to go back for more sessions? Do you ever train the humans to do the at-home follow-up work so that you don't have to go back and they can do it on their own?
Okay, there's multiple things.
I know. There's a bunch of questions. Sorry.
That's okay. So, good question. So what we do is have an assessment at the beginning and see the duration of what's been going on. If it's something that they've just had a stumble and their leg is a little tweaked, it's happened recently. It's going to be a quick turnaround. If it's something that's been going on a while, it's just like us. It doesn't magically clear overnight. So, depending on those factors. So a lot of times, if it's been going on, I do a minimum of 3 because we want to get a good baseline, and then we can do a maintenance session, spread that out. So I have a lot of people that like once a month just for wellness care, because life happens in between, and so we just do once a month to keep the health going. I also do teach classes because I love empowering the pet guardians how to help in between. It doesn't replace the need for a professional like me. It would lengthen, it just empowers them so their pet gets more care.
And they can do maintenance work.
And they can do the maintenance work, and then when something happens, or it's what they can do between sessions, and then we go in and...
Are your sessions done live, by Zoom, both, either?
They are done live by Zoom, or they happen live at the Animal Healing Center.
Oh, really?
Here in Redmond.
Wow.
So people can come that are local, can bring their pet in to see me in person.
Animal Healing Center is a really wonderful veterinary clinic down here in Redmond. It's an integrative clinic, which means it's not a fully Western clinic, so they use different modalities, and it's a fantastic place if you can get in. So can you tell people where they might find out about upcoming classes and how to sign up?
Sure. The best place to go is my website, which is www.healingyouranimal.com. So that's HEALING YOURANIMAL.com. And on there I have a classes page and check back frequently because I update it frequently. One of the main classes that I do on a pretty frequent basis is the animal massage. So you can learn to massage your cat or your dog at home. That can go a long way for wellness. It doesn't like to replace what I can teach you in the short time, doesn't replace the many hours of training, but the advanced things. But you can do a lot that goes a long way, and that's what I love, because you're there 24/7 with your pets.
Yes. When I was when I got to this section about massage and the what do you call the bladder meridian? I don't know if we can do this, but I've got a couple of kitty cats here. Could you show us where the bladder meridian is and
Sure.
how somebody might work with that? Okay, hang on just one second. Everybody look at Vicki's pretty face.
Oh, okay, I can put it in my lap. Okay, who is this that we have here?
This fabulous girl is Freya.
Hi, Freya.
And
let's see, we can get.
want me to go down like that?
Oops, there we go.
There we go.
I think we can get us a little bit up.
Sorry.
There we go. Oh, she's purring. Okay, Freya.
So Freya was surrendered to us. Her mommy was deployed into the Navy, and so Freya was surrendered to us last week. She flew up from California. Boy, are her arms tired.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to do that joke every time. But she is, she's been seen by a vet, of course. And interestingly, Vicki, and I really want to tell you about this, is the vet records, like there were 59 pages of vet records, and never in any of those, so they've done dentals, like this is wrong with the cat. And if you were here and you could feel Freya, she's very inflamed. Her gut is hard like a bowling ball. And her coat is very, very greasy.
That's what I was just
tacky,
noticing.
yes,
Yeah.
and clumpy. And this is all diet related, but not in one place in all of those vet notes do they ever ask about or address her diet. And I happen to know that this cat was on dry food, and so we know that that's the problem. So the vets are like, well, anyway, and this is not an indictment against veterinarians, but if we could remember that, let food be your medicine, Hippocrates, who's the first vet, the first doctor, I really like that too. But she's a fantastic cat. And this is a great example of a cat who, once we get her balanced and into a good diet, oh my gosh, she's going to be like the Michael Jordan of cats. So.
Yes, I can tell that. But yeah, I can tell she's not on good quality food. It's amazing what you can tell just by even just touching the fur. So I've just been letting her get used to me here, and so she's doing that. And I've asked her permission. And so to find the bladder meridian, the reason I love teaching the bladder meridian, and the chart is in the book, is because it has association points. And what that means is there are points along the bladder meridian that all are associated to all the organs in the body. So by stimulating those, you're giving a great wellness balance. And then there's more, that's the part I teach, that you can do the wellness, and then you can get into much more sophisticated and healing things from there. But for you as your pet guardian, you can do this simple thing. It may not seem like you're doing much, and it's going to be very powerful. And that's what I love to teach, is simple, powerful, easy to do, because then that way you'll do it, and your cats will benefit. So you are trying to stay with my hand. Okay, so the bladder meridian runs parallel on both sides. So I'm going to start with one side. So I'm going to start with one side of her head, and it goes down. Well, technically it starts at the bridge of the nose and goes down over. I'm working on her right side of her head, and it goes down, and then you come over where the shoulder blade is, and you'll fall into a little dip right behind her shoulder blade, and it's off to the side of the spine about a finger's width, especially for a cat size. And that's where the association points start on the bladder meridian. And this one actually associates with the lung. And so I just lightly do, and this is only like the weight of a nickel, because the meridians are just barely under the skin, so you don't have to do a lot of pressure to palpate them or activate them. So just roll over, fall into that little groove, and then I'm staying that finger width from the spine, and then just lightly tracing, just lightly going down the side of her. There you go. Oh, she did a little knee there. And then I'm going to go over the hip, and as I go over the hip, then I'm going to come down the back of the leg to the back of the knee. Where are you? Your leg here. Okay. And then come out to the side a little bit and go down the side of the leg, behind the ankle bone, and out the side of the little toe.
Nope, not today.
And so just that one little pass, I don't know if you could see on the camera, but Nancy could see, she was stretching her little paw and then kind of pulling it back, and really liked that. And since I'm sensitive to energy, I can feel what just opened up for her with that one pass. And so what I'm going to do, in the book I tell you to do it 3 times, because I would see what's happening the second pass, let it just keep flushing through. But for right now, since we're live, I also want to make sure I do the other side, so I'm going to do the other side right now. And it doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, so I'm coming down. I know, and her eyes are kind of shutting. They're soft, so she's taking it in. And so I'm going to come down on the left side, behind her shoulder. When they're lying like this, you kind of got to get a little creative. And then I'm going to go down, so she's lying in here. You might not be able to see, but I'm going to go in here and trace down the back. And once you get to right before the base of the tail, that's where the association points end. So those are the critical points to really open. But I'm going to finish opening it. And since I can't quite get in there, I'm going to pretend or imagine my hand did the rest, because energetically it will open. So now I can feel her more balanced. It's got more life in here, so that's actually going to then help the food process quicker, and and her body process more efficiently, because we're letting go of some stuff. And so I'm happy to do the 3 passes here, because I want to see. So what I do is, I'm also watching. So when I go to the same part, I'm back on the right side, and I'm going to see if at the same spot, she's kind of shifted. Let me palpate here. Okay, make sure to see what her response is. If it's that same area. Yes, I'm going to get about this area is where she's kind of leaning into it more. She's looking, that's about where she did her reaction before. So that just says that's where there's a little bit of work to do. We're going to balance out. And this is getting that open. Oh, you are liking that. She was purring. So I'm going to I'll do one more pass on this side, and then we'll even her out on the other. Whoops. So the time the third pass is, okay, there, see, she's stretching out. It's like that's why I like to do 3, because if you do the third, you've really got a good opening there. And so I feel like that has gotten what she needed there. So then I'm going to balance her out with the other side.
She's loving it.
Yeah. Yeah, your body is... Sometimes I do a little clear, my body reacts to what's clearing. Oh.
Oh,
there
wow.
You go.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's on the... And I always pay attention to where it is in the body, so then... because that can give me clues as to what maybe I need to work on next, or what's happening. Okay, so I'm going to balance it out with the third time, and this is on the back left. Yeah, so the back left hip is where she's responding, and so that may need a little bit more work. It's kind of why I use this as an assessment tool as well as working. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that just opened up a lot more flow. So I don't know how you sense. I know you have a different kind of cat language. Are you sensing
Oh yeah.
some changes
Oh,
here?
totally.
Okay. So that's how I would work with the Bladder Meridian.
What I think is really interesting, sorry to be off camera, is, and Vicki's told me this before, that when she's been working on one animal here, that the other animals love to jump in and get some of that good stuff. And right when she started doing that, one of our, again, new adoption kitties, Fuzz, man, she reacted hugely. She's been rubbing, now she's getting a drink of water, and you could tell she really benefited from that good energy too.
Good.
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's very common, well, here, when I'm working here, and then in multiple animal households. One I'll be working with, the other one's over there just lying and sighing and getting more relaxed. And
Yeah.
so it really is multiple, because they're in the energy field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to move her over here and you can come
I'm
back?
going to move her back.
Oh.
Or you can, yep, let me grab her.
Just hold her.
Oh, I bet she would really like that.
I can just hold her.
And then I'm in the picture now too. Hello. Okay, there we go. Make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, that's not right. That's right.
Wait a-
Anyway, one of the other things that you talk about in your book, and I know that you also create and sell, are essences.
Mhm.
Can you talk to me about essences, what you would use them for, and kind of your background with those?
Sure. Early on in my training, I've always been a crystal lover, and I was always one that picked a rock and kicked it around the neighborhood. I was always attracted to the minerals. And so I collected them over my life just because I liked them. And when, early on in my career, I changed from computers. I went off into computers for years, and that fed my head because I could do it, but my heart was out of it. And so now, aligning with the pets and my passion, I've now been doing this longer than I was in the computer field. So
Nice, good for you.
Anyway, so early on in that, I took a how to make flower essence class, and didn't understand it, couldn't feel it, didn't sense it, because I hadn't increased that muscle to where it is today. And so at that time I'm like, oh, this is cool. But then I realized that you could do the same with the essences, and it became clear that this was a way that I could help more animals, well, people too, than what I could do in my private practice. And so it opened up to me to be able to serve more, because it's a lower cost and a still nice healing. I call it a healing in a bottle. And so the animals are super sensitive to it, and they don't have a placebo effect, so they're not like questioning, is this going to help or not help? They just respond. And it's putting an energy, a vibration into the atmosphere, because I use mist. I make mine in mist because I always had cats, and it was hard to give drops to cats. And so mine is a sort of the whole family with who needs it with one application type things. You do a little mist in the air. And some of the most common ones are serene, because it's a very calming. And family really helps family dynamics. So when cats aren't getting along, family can help balance that. Another one was core issues. Core issues in family were two. I found that they quit using litter box because of behavioral issues. Then
Thanks, Ted.
I help people select which formula will target the energy for what their specific situation is. But so one of those always showed up to be the answer.
There's fabulous scientific substantiation for that. I heard, I think it was, I was listening to something on NPR. They were talking about how every flower emits a different vibration, and that is how bees know to navigate. And I just think that that's just fascinating, because people sometimes need a little bit of that, show me the science.
Yes.
And so it's right there. But, as humans, we only perceive just the tip of the iceberg of anything, right?
Yes, and I have a book that has been scientifically, all the minerals and crystals have been scientifically measured to what number they vibrate with, what frequency they emit, what body part is, it would help because each body part is a different frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, it's all backed by science, and just because we don't understand it, it's been labeled, kind of woo-woo or whatnot, but it's actually all science. And the energy work I do is actually quantum physics. That has got all the research behind that.
Yeah, love it. So if somebody wanted to order an essence from you, they could go to healingyouranimal.com.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and select the products tab, and then from there you'll see my books, and you'll also see the essences. And
love it.
There's a questionnaire on there that you can check to see kind of what essence you have, or you can set up a time with me and we can select your essences and do a little clearing and for you or your animal.
Love it. So we're just about out of time. I just wanted to, this is the Whole Cat and Caboodle, but I love dogs just as much. I just happen to work with cats. There's a bit in your book about massaging ears,
Mm-hmm.
which seemed to me like that would be something that would benefit dogs and cats equally.
Oh, yeah.
Could you do one more little demo
Sure.
on Miss Freya about how to massage
Sure.
ears?
I'll do one of the techniques. I actually have a 3-part ear massage wellness series that you can order
Of course you do.
on my website.
Love it.
Because there are different techniques, but I'll show you one today. And so, okay, can we see? Let me see if we can see the little ear here. Okay, so it's light, and I'm lightly going to put my fingers on each side of her ear. Yeah.
Oh, she's just purring.
She is purring, and so I'm lightly just going to. I know. There you go. Okay, I'm going to come back in. What I do is I'm lightly engaging and then lightly just running a line with my finger out to the tip. Then I'm going to come back over to the next space that I haven't touched. So I cut and go out to the tip of the ear.
Like you're cutting the grass, like you're mowing your lawn, right?
Yes. And so I'm just lightly doing it. Yeah, I'm coming back.
Why do you think she's so reactive to that?
That's a good question. I'll quit talking because, see, animals like us have their full attention on them in a healing session. Because, see, now that I'm focusing on her and calm, she's not reacting. So there's an example of I was focusing on talking here. She wasn't as calm when I stopped.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Because they know the difference. You can't fool them. So I'm going to focus on her a minute and let you see. Yeah, you liking this? Oh, does it feel a little funny? Okay, let's see. Okay.
So this would be almost.
Oh, there's a nice.
There's a good stretch.
stretch.
This would be almost like mindful petting. So there's a
Yes.
difference
Yes.
between petting your pet while you're on your phone and watching TV and stuff, and mindfully petting your pet.
Absolutely, because they know the difference, and that's what. Thank you for being a great teacher today. Because, right, when I was multitasking here, I got more of my focus out into talking off of her. She could feel it, so they are great teachers in that way. So yes, it is mindful petting, and they know the difference. Oh, and she's just purring and is just in heaven here.
So I just wanted to call out two other sections of your book, 3 sections actually. The first one that I think everybody needs to read no matter what is the one on antibiotic support, because animals can't tell you where it hurts. It's not uncommon for antibiotics to be used sort of indiscriminately. And antibiotics really work best when there's a purulent process, when there is an actual infection. because antibiotics are indiscriminate, right? So they kill both good and bacteria, bad bacteria. So I love how you talk about that in the book, because again, this is not about just dealing with the crisis points in life, but about dealing with the overall health of your animal. So that's one section that I just loved. The second section is about serious health issues. And boy, what I love is that you take the emotion out of it and you pull it to a place where you're really seeing it from the cat's perspective or the dog's perspective. I just absolutely love that whole section, and I know that I will go to it as I face crises with my own pets. And then the last section, and unfortunately, I've run across this too many times in the recent past, the session about helping your animal transition.
Yeah.
And I know from personal experience that that you provide a great deal of relief and understanding for the human, because the animal has its own wisdom. It knows what it's doing and where it's going. But we've all suffered that heartbreak. I like to call it the terrible price we pay for love. But I don't think any of us would have it any other way. So anyway, on that note, is there anything else that you'd like to say or share with people to let people know?
Yes. Well, thanks for listening, and if you have any questions or concerns with your pet, you can reach me. I do a 15 to 20 minute free consultation with you and help you get the support that's best for your pet, and we can determine, if it's essences, if it's the book, things to do, if it's a class, or if you want private sessions, so we can work with wide range of things. And I also have a podcast, Animal Messages, what your pet wants you to know, or what your animal wants you to know. And Nancy is actually going to be a guest on that next week, and we're going to be talking about from the cat's perspective, because our work is so aligned and our passions are so aligned and so that's a free resource that you can get as well. And
so just one more time, Vicki's book, Heart to Heart, fantastic. Remember that you can order the book or reach out to Vicki at healingyouranimal.com. And if you have any questions for the Whole Cat and Kaboodle, reach out to us at, info@gmail.com. And we really appreciate everyone tuning in today. Thank you so much. And thank you very much, Vicki, for the work you do.
Thank you. And remind me her name.
Freya.
And Freya is all cozy and relaxed, so now she's waking up. But thank you, Freya.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Okay, so all of the maps that we